Hey, Wood Butchers. One little tip. I'm just working on some stuff here, which is why I haven't been posting any videos. Finishing the basement. So we're working on this. I got all the plans have been approved by my RM. All the permits have been pulled. Everything's good. So I've gone with basically an interesting way of doing things. We're going 24 inches on center 2x4 studs, mainly because that was what I had readily available at some local stores. And here in Canada, we have shop dogs who like to steal stuff. Oh, goodness gracious. I'll get them in a second. Anyways, we're living on a floodplain. So underneath here is clay gumbo. Not good stuff. So my entire house, based on the recommendation of a soil engineer, is on spread footings. So basically big giant footings around the whole perimeter of the house, and in between those footings is crushed clean stone, and then we have a concrete floor. Sorry about the light, guys, but okay, concrete floor. And then we put the insulated flooring panels, or 2x2 panels. We put them down just to make things more comfortable. This is going to be my bathroom at some point in time. So anyways, we have all this done. So I cannot really directly connect my stud walls to my floor joists because the ground's going to move and shift and do stuff. So what we're doing is, you can do it two ways, but again, I have these engineered floor joists, which are a little bit more flexible than the rigid sort of web joists or I-beams, like, you know, it looks like OSB between two by threes. So the way I do it, because these things are more flexible up here, they go up and down as you walk on it, and you don't want this pinned on the floor so that this pushes up. You want it to float a little bit. So what I'm doing is I have attached my my bottom plate onto the joists here. Onto the flooring. They're going to be anchored down into the concrete periodically, just so they don't move. And up at the top, I'll leave a little bit of a gap to get things going. But since I can't pin it directly, I have to utilize a different system. And what I'm using here is basically big giant carriage bolts, not carriage bolts, lag bolts. Big lag bolts are going to be holding that into the top. Now, I need to get this wall vertical before I pin it up at the top. So to do that, short story long, is I'm using one of these quick support rods. They have them up here in Canada. It's Task. I've got a few from some renovations I did before, but I need to move the wall that way. Well, how am I going to hold it in place while I try and throw up a piece of plywood or not plywood, sheetrock and that type of thing? My best bet is to use this thing. A little bit of trigonometry, because this is a rectangle up here and up there. And as I lengthen this out, it's going to straighten it out. So right now, it's actually not too bad. If I can get a focus. There we go. Focus on that. There we go. So let's get into the bubble. So it's on that side. So as we... Oop, went the wrong way. As we tighten this up. There we go. Okay. Now that wall's firming up. We tighten it up little by little. And I can dial that wall in perfectly level without involving Mrs. Wood Butcher. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so she found out Rex got a little thing. So now it's dialed in perfectly. Now I can get the other side done with a similar system. And then I can pin it up at the top with the lag bolts. See you in a bit. Okay, so here we are. The way I've been doing this is I have a cross member up here screwed into each of the joists, two, and then I have another running parallel with the joists, and then I put a big lag screw into it. The reason I do this is I don't want to compromise this any more than I have to. So my thought is, if I'm doing this with four screws, rather than a big old lag bolt going up through the center of the bottom of the plate there, I don't want that happening. So I've done this before, it's always been good. I find it solid, so I'm gonna now run this bolt up to where this is sitting probably about 3/4 of an inch below the bottom plate. That way, if the floor ever moves, or this part ever moves with just movement and shift and weight, that this, the wall will move on this lag bolt rather than weight being put through here. These are not structural, so they're not designed for structural. Otherwise there'd be a double top plate and I'd have to look at where the load bearing is and have the joist lined up and, or sorry, not the joist, the studs lined up and everything else like that. So this is just to hold the wall moving this way and front and back. I'm gonna put a few of these in and keep it nice and solid, but still allow everything to flex and move so that nothing breaks or cracks or is damaged. Anyways, that's how we do it up here in Manitoba, or at least how I do it up here in Manitoba. Okay, and the last section on this long wall is I needed to push the wall that way, but I didn't have anything on the left side. So the neat thing about these quick sort of rods, support rods, is that they got rubber feet on them, and beautifully it's holding on the floor with just enough force to allow me to push that nice and plumb. So this wall, hopefully the camera can show it, but it is basically perfectly plumb and in line with that wall down there. So this is going to look nice. When you come down the stairs and you're looking this way, you're going to not see the wall doing this kind of funky stuff and stuff not lining up. So I'm pretty happy. Now just to secure the last lag bolt in on this wall and everything's good to go. Last one here. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use a 3/16 installing pilot bit, and I'm going to go up through the top plate into that brace that I have, and that is going to be chased by a 3/8. All the lag bolts are 3/8 of an inch pilot bit. So oddly enough, DeWalt makes a pilot point bit, and what this does, it has a little end on it that I'll get on the bigger bits so they don't walk. It's a smaller, it cuts in a little bit. Well, it's beautifully is that this goes right into that 3/8 inch pilot hole I'm going to drill, so that the big lag bolt has something to go into in the block on the top, but this will ream it out perfectly and allow me to center it perfectly into the pre-hole I drilled. Just the way I'm doing it. So the pilot bit is fully embedded right through. That does go right through. There we go. Okay, there we go. It's not perfectly centered, but did the best I could by eye, and it's off a little bit. I'm okay with that. It's all, there's going to be a whole bunch of these all over the place, so they're all going to interlock, intermingle. As long as it's in the same, this wall is in the same position, it'll work good enough. And if you look really closely, the pilot point of that bit is exactly where I drilled the pilot hole. So this system seems to work perfectly for me. Okay. Proof is in the pudding. Yeah, I still have the cross brace on, but it's really not doing anything. So here is, I just have two of them in this 10-foot section. If I'm moving this, that's not moving at all, but I'm flexing that stud there, and I can't, it's moving maybe a 1/16, 32nd of an inch at the top. I'm putting it really hard. So this system works pretty darn good up here. Hey, Wood Butchers, just one little thing to show you. I was just doing some testing here and I thought this might be useful. Over on this section, I haven't put in the cross bracing because I had to figure out where I'm going to put these bolts and all that kind of stuff in and how everything's going to go. But I was just pulling on this to see how the wall was doing, and then I thought, wow, wait a minute. So this allows, you can see how it allows it to move on that. Sorry, I can't do much, but it allows everything to flex up and down. But again, side to side, laterally. Oh, it's beautiful. Anyways, last of this video. I hope this helps somebody build their basement somewhere in the world. This one was off a little bit. My measurements were incorrect, but it'll be close enough because it's pinned in 3 other places around it. So have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy things. Get out there. Build your basement. Build something else. Enjoy life.